I stopped at the library front desk before heading for my spot in the corner after school. I watched as a second grader checked out a small stack of books. Miss Jones scanned the little barcodes on the back with her laser thing, and the computer recorded what books the kid was checking out and when it was due back. That was no help. I didn't have a computer or a scanner or whatever program she had that kept track of it all. Miss Jones noticed me watching. Thinking of becoming a librarian, Amy Ann? She asked. I jumped. People were always reading my mind. What? Oh, no, I was just interested in how it all works. The way you keep track of what books get checked out. Miss Jones ran the boys' books across the bonky thing that made them safe to take to the detectors at the front door without setting off the alarm. It's all automated now, Miss Jones said. Certainly a lot less trouble than it used to be. What did it used to be like? I asked her. Let's see, Miss Jones said. She looked over at the paperback spinner racks. Bring me that copy of The Witch of Blackbird Pond. It was an old, beat up copy of the book with clear cellophane tape holding the covers on. Miss Jones flipped to the back of the book. Ah, I thought this one might still have it in there. We've gone all digital now, of course, but I never got around to taking these out of the older books. She turned the book around for me to see. There, in the back cover, was a little manila envelope with a card sticking out of it. Miss Jones pulled out the card. It's a due date card, she explained. Used to be, we would have to take the card out of every book, stamp it with a due date, and then the person checking out the book would sign the card. Of course, I had seen these in the back of some books I checked out, but I never paid much attention to them. The card had the book's name and the author on top. Underneath that were two columns, one for the date and another for the borrower's name. The dates in the books were all from the 1980s. The names on the due date card had to be adults now. They took the books and we kept the card, Miss Jones said. We put the cards in order by the date, and then every day we would check to see what books had come due. How did the person checking out the book know when they were due? I asked her. Oh, we put a little slip of paper in each little pocket in the back with a due date stamp on it. The whole thing was absolute headache for a large library. I was excited. My library was tiny. This is exactly what I needed. Do you have a different stamp for every day? Oh, heavens no. There was a neat little gizmo that could stamp any day. I wonder if I still have one. Miss Jones disappeared into the back office. I could see her rummaging around the door through the window. Envelopes. I could use a bunch of envelopes and tape them to the back of the BBLL books. Then I could stick index cards down inside the little pockets with places for people to sign their names. When the books were due, I could even slip a reminder notice in the borrower's locker mailbox. Ah, found one, Miss Jones said. Just goes to show you we never throw anything away around here. She came back with a complicated little hand stamp that was stained red from years of use. It had a black knob on the top where you held it, and the bottom were four rotating rubber pieces, one for the month, two for the numbers and the date, and one for the year. It was set for May 27th, 1988. Miss Jones laughed. I suppose that was the last day we ever used it. I clicked the month forward and back. What an awesome gadget. I tried stamping it on my arm, but it was dry, of course. It only left a faint imprint of the date on my skin. Where can I get one of these? I asked. Miss Jones looked surprised. Oh, well, I suppose they still sell them somewhere. Office supply stores, maybe, though I don't know how much call there is for them today. You can have that one if you really want it. The little hairs on my arm tingled. Really? Well, I certainly don't need it anymore, Miss Jones said. It's a little out of date. It was only has the year 1980 and 1990 on it. I didn't care. The due date stamp was too amazing. I would make it work somehow. Thanks, I said, and I ran off to my corner. All I needed now was a pair of glasses on a chain, and I was ready for my office librarian membership card. Nowhere to stomp to. The index cards and the envelopes I found in my mom's office, which doubled as a treadmill room and tripled as the guest bedroom and quadrupled as the place where we dumped all the holiday stuff and anything else we didn't have a place for. Angelica's room had a glue stick, and there were a pair of scissors in the kitchen drawer. Now all I needed was a place to work. My bed wasn't a great place to cut and paste. Alexis was in there using my bedpost for a ballet beret again and playing her music too loud. The kitchen table would have been perfect, but Angelica turned it into a pony barn. She used a paper shredder in my mom's office to make hay again, and it was scattered all over the floor. I went to the living room instead, where mom and dad were watching something with knights and swords on TV. Dad paused the show they were watching as I came in. What's up, kiddo? Just school stuff, I said. I set my things down on the coffee table and settled in. Oh, I'm sorry, hun. We need you to find somewhere else to work tonight, Mom said. We're watching something you're not old enough to watch yet. And where do you expect me to go? I wanted to ask. Alexis has turned my room into a ballet studio, and Angelica's turned the kitchen into a stable. I sighed heavily instead. I snatched up my things as angrily as I could and stomped to the kitchen. I need the kitchen table, I told Angelica. Nay, she said. I plunked my things down on the table. You're just playing. I have a school project to do, I told her. Nay, Angelica said. I pulled out a chair and sat down, messing up her piles of shredded paper. No, no. I was here first. I was here first, Angelica screamed. She grabbed the chair I was sitting in and yanked on it. When she couldn't move it, she tried pulling me out by the arm of the chair. Let go, I'm working. You're ruining it. You're ruining it. Angelica, Amy Ann, my father called from the living room. Enough. Angelica stopped trying to pull me out of the chair and collapsed into the floor where she rolled around, kicking her legs and screaming at the top of her lungs. Girls, Dad bellowed from the living room. I do not want to deal with this right now. I was here first, Angelica wailed. I was here first. Amy and Mom called. Your sister was already using the kitchen. Find someplace else to work. I pushed my chair back from the table with as much noise as I could, picked up my things, and stomped out of the kitchen, kicking Angelica's pile of shredded paper into the air as I went. She wailed even louder, which made me feel good even though I was steaming mad. I still needed somewhere else to work. I wasn't going to fight another battle with Alexis in my room, not after Angelica had already gotten my parents angry. And I needed more room than my old hideout, the bathroom. And Angelica's fit and my parents yelling at us had woken the dogs and sent them scurrying into the hall, nubby tails down and unhappy. They didn't like it when we yelled. They were looking for a place to hide, like I was. Flotsam and Jetsam followed me into Mom's office. The bed was covered with boxes of Christmas decorations and blankets and camping gear we had never used. And Mom's desk was piled so high with papers and folders and boxes that it was useless. There was room on the floor, though. I plopped down with so much frustration as I could and spread out my envelopes and note cards, which Flotsam and Jetsam proceeded to step all over. No, no, I told them. But they kept moving around, their tails wiggling in happiness as they bent my cards and envelopes. They weren't trying to be bad. They were just trying to get as close to me as possible. And since I was on the floor, they thought I was down there to pet and play with them. I dodged the dogs' tails and collected all my things again and pushed past them into the hall. There wasn't a single place in this house I could work. I stomped through the kitchen again, where Angelica eyed me warily from underneath the table. I didn't even bother kicking her shredded paper. I went straight to the back door and outside, where it was raining. I dashed to Mom's car and jumped into the front passenger seat. There was no flat space to glue, and the car smelled like sour milk, but at least I could work in peace. If only I could drive. Then I would have started the car and driven far, far away from there. I ran back the back of my arm across my eyes, and I couldn't tell if I was wiping away rain or tears.